It's just still trying to learn each other. We're 10 games in, we're still trying to figure out lineups and what works best out on the floor, closing quarter lineups and things of that nature. So it's just an adjustment that we're all still trying to figure out. And guys, I mean, we got a bunch of guys that's playing that didn't play last year. That's in the rotation. That's like playing heavy minutes that didn't play at all, no matter if it was here or their respective teams that just didn't get many minutes. So it's learning. We're all still learning each other, learning on the fly, and trying to be as best we can on the court. But it's got to be better.
So we're about 7-ish hours away from the Battle of LA, and for that we're joined by our Clippers reporter Young Masuk. But Richard, I want to start with you here. You played with LeBron. What do you make of what you just heard from your former teammate?
I haven't spoken to him, but I feel like him signing that extension was the biggest mistake he's made in his career. And I stand by that. I don't think leaving Cleveland, people might question why he left Cleveland or how he left Cleveland. I don't think even leaving Miami. Even Pat Riley at the time was like, why are you leaving? We're built for a long-term situation. Went back to Cleveland, wins a championship. And then even after he leaves Cleveland, Cleveland's like, hey, we appreciate everything you've done. You come to LA, you win a championship. But signing this extension right now, last summer, it just was so confusing to me because I think he did it because he was committed to the organization. I know you got 2 picks. I'm going to show you my commitment to you so that you can go make some moves. Because we knew what this team was a year ago. We knew what this team was a year ago, last year, and they haven't added any tangible pieces. And for him to sign that extension to show his commitment, the biggest confusion of all of the extensions were Rob Pelinka, because you're like, what has Rob Pelinka done? Because LeBron James was coming to LA because LeBron James wanted to come to LA. Anthony Davis was coming to LA because, well, you know what? He wanted to play with LeBron James and win a championship. So when you look at all of the moves that have been made by Rob Pelinka, does he deserve an extension? And so for LeBron James to commit to an organization and say, hey, you know what? Like, I want to be here. I want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable trading future assets. I don't need a contender. I need a good team. And so for him to sit on the wall and be a professional and say, hey, look, look, we got a lot of guys that haven't played. This is LeBron James, arguably the greatest player we have ever seen. 1, 2, 3, wherever you rank him, he's about to pass Kareem as the all-time leading scorer, and this is the roster that you put next to him. The formula has been shown for 2 decades how to win with LeBron, and they have thrown that all away.
Well, and by the way, the formula of how to win with LeBron, add shooters, right, to start with, that also helps Russell Westbrook play well. It creates space for him too, Janae.
Yeah, I do think that this is an interesting, relaxed type of LeBron, even though you see at the bottom of that they're 2-8, and it's like sound the alarm, because you have someone that I believe in December is about to turn 38, who's available, who's averaging around 30, who was, as Richard said, is one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player. 1, 2, 3, you can rank them like you said before. And it just feels like this is a wasted opportunity. You are getting Russ back, and Russ has been phenomenal as of late. You have to give him credit, but then now there's an issue, unfortunately, with AD and his touches and managing that situation. But Richard nailed it on the head. The big reason why LeBron James has won championships is because his talents have been able to be, taken advantage because he has shooters on the floor. And if you don't design a team with shooters on the floor, then you're wasting one of the best talents we have ever seen. I think that the reason why, the GM, Rob Pelinka's extension was made was to show this stability, right? You're ushering a new coach in, and it helps to have a stability when you're, a top player, and also your GM are on board with how we're going to retool. But at the end of the day, 2020, even though it feels close, it was a long time ago. You have one of the greatest talents, and now you're baffled that you have a season that feels like is being wasted and you're not reaching the potential. LeBron's doing his thing. AD, you want to see him at an MVP level. Russ is finally getting going, and it's still not good enough. There's reasons to be frustrated.
Well, the only point that I'll throw back about the Rob Pelinka extension to add stability is that I don't think that the Lakers were not a stable organization. They just won a championship 2 years ago in the bubble. So, when I look at this, it's like, no, you have to earn your keep. Everybody has to earn their keep. And for me, I think when LeBron signed that extension, it took away the sense of urgency for the Lakers. It was like, okay, well, he's here now. Let's just make sure we do this right. And it's like, no.
That should have been the last thing, especially when he's 37, about to be 38.
100%.
The Lakers are the only team that actually have built a team around LeBron twice without shooters. Remember they did that when Magic was there.
Oh, yeah.
They decided, let's get a whole bunch of creators with the ball to help lessen the load on him. You thought they would have learned their lesson from that. There is nothing worse than seeing an aging superstar who still has something left in the tank and does not have the right team around. RJ and I can remember. I'm old enough to remember when Michael Jordan dropped 45 on RJ and the Nets on New Year's Eve, okay? That Wizard team was armed. Yes, Michael was later. He was like 40 years old then. But LeBron still has plenty left in the tank.
My biggest issue now is that we know that there was no shooting. There was no shooting a year ago. There was no shooting a season ago. And now here, the fact that they didn't make the postseason, so they had, think about this, people, they had between April to October, and this is the team that was put together and then was given an extension. I'm sorry, that's malpractice. You can't do that. I'm not talking about to LeBron. Let's take him out. To the Laker organization, one of the greatest sports organizations that we've seen on the planet. So to me, when I look at this, and I just think like, gosh, there's got to be a lot of people in this organization right now. They're like, what are we doing? I understand that the picks, and I understand this, but you don't need, we said up here on the show, you don't need to give LeBron an A-plus team. He likes an A-plus team. But if you give him a B-plus team, he will do A-plus things with them.
And clearly what we've been hearing is that you only have one shot to get it right, and your next move has to be your best move because otherwise it's wasted.
Yeah, but if you get so far down now, you're now going to put, let's say they're in last place and they're so far down. You're going to ask Anthony Davis, you're going to ask LeBron James, you're going to ask whoever else is on this roster to dig themselves out of a hole to go actually compete. So you're basically saying that this year, last year, look, everybody, Russell wasn't a good fit. I get all this stuff, but now you're asking LeBron James to dig you out of a hole that this team has created because of their inability to form a coherent team. Not even a great team. They have guys, they're drawing up plays for people to hit game winners that were overdrivers. Come on.
There's mutual culpability because I think internally amongst the players, they wanted Russ too. Right, so it's not just one front office thing. I think they all co-signed that.
But that was a year ago.
True.
That was a year and a half ago.
And look, Matt Ryan, who was an Uber driver a year ago,
Matt.
a fantastic story in the NBA.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is he played 5 minutes in the league before this season, and that's who you're relying on. And it's a wonderful feel-good story.
This ain't about the feel-good story.
There you go. So that is the Lakers in all of their glory. Let's get to the Clippers side of this a little bit, Owen, because Paul George, he's been playing out of his mind lately.
Yes.
He pulled off another Western Conference Player of the Week. What has been the key to his success here?
I think he's just feeling better. And that's what he's saying. He had a non-COVID illness about 2 weeks ago and said he really couldn't breathe, was in bed. I also think the circumstances have kind of kicked him into overdrive a little bit, understanding that Kawhi Leonard's probably going to be out for a minute. He knew he had to be the guy, and so he has picked it up since, and he's been unbelievable. When they win, you see he scores 40 against Sacramento. He has 35, 8, 6 steals, things like that. He said a game winner against Houston. That game against Houston, by the way, Malika, was almost a disaster. They were down 5 with just a little bit over a minute to go. Had they lost that game, they would have lost 4 in a row going into Houston.
Look at the numbers.
The sigh of relief that I kept seeing and hearing from people in that organization right after that win was everywhere throughout the building. And since then, things have turned. But now we're starting to see their real identity. They came back against the Cavs, down 12, down 10 with 3 minutes to go. This looked like the ultimate. And I asked Ty Lue, I said, are you starting to recognize this team? Looks like a team from last year. He said, yeah, but when we get Kawhi back, we're going to have to start over again.
The when we get Kawhi back, that's the question, because at this point, it's about when is that going to happen, because he's been out since early October. The Battle of LA, it goes down tonight, right?